Hi everyone, it's Liza with Gatehouse with an overview of what you should be focused on in July in order to hit those round one deadlines for your business school applications. First, take inventory. You undoubtedly are feeling the heat, no pun intended, right about now with lots of plates in the air, different essays, your resume, your recommenders, you name it. So take a moment, if you haven't, to create a wholesome or fulsome list of all the different required components of each application and just have it on a master tracker. So on this tracker, I would also encourage you to include the deadlines, as well as an area for any shared components, such as your resume or your letters of recommendation or your test. So if you have this sort of master list, then you can start working backwards from those deadlines and trying to give yourself rough goals of when you want to be able to cross off each of those items on your master tracker. That's tip number one. Tip number two is to focus on one school at a time. It can be really tempting at this point. I always see it where people start getting nervous about the deadlines and they might not be done with the school, but they want to start on their second and third school at the same time. Don't do it. Just resist that temptation and really focus on one school at a time, working on it slowly and steadily to make sure that it's about 80% of the way there. Then and only then do I encourage you to go ahead and start on another school, doing the same with that next school, getting it to about the 80% level, and then switching to any additional schools. Doing this sequentially is really important because it allows you to really focus deeply on one school and to perfect it. And then almost like turn away from that school and turn your attention to a new school, leveraging what you've done, but also giving yourself a little bit more room to figure out new things that you might end up going back and editing for your first school's essays. But if you've got all your first school's essays in play, you're trying to juggle your second school's essays in play, A, you've got a lot of version control where you might be trying to say the same thing and you're not saying it well anywhere, and B, it's just going to be a lot to manage and really give your all to. So I encourage you one school at a time, even when you start getting nervous about that timeline. I assure you, you will actually get faster and more efficient and more effective at those later schools if you go and follow this process. So that's number two. Number three, manage your recommenders. By this point, I hope that you've all provided your recommenders with some prep packs so that they remember what you've done brilliantly under their watch and that they are well prepared to write your letters of recommendation for them. But don't just sort of send that pack and say goodbye. Once or twice during the month of July, reach out to them, ask them if they've had any questions, or ask them how their progress is. Part of this process is absolutely project managing them. It is on you. It is your application. You need those letters of recommendation to be completed when you hit submit, so don't leave that to chance. And number four, just be ready to iterate. That's another thing that happens in July. You might want to be seeing progress on your essays faster than it's actually happening. It's normal to not get there in your first pass, and not get there in your second pass, and not get there in your third pass. But you do need to keep working at it and to bake in time to your schedule so that you can work on an essay, turn your attention to something else, maybe you pick up your resume, and then bring your attention back to that essay. And each time you iterate on it, you will find ways to improve that essay. Obviously, if you're working with us at Gatehouse, you will iterate on it, send it to us so that we can do that thinking while you're again working on your resume, and then send it back to you to prompt you, encourage you to do additional thinking. But even if you're not working with us, make sure you bake in that time of iteration and reflection to sort of force these different drafts and force that incremental thinking. So good luck. It's hot out, and I know there's a lot going on with business school applications. We're rooting for you, and definitely let us know at Gatehouse Admissions if we can help.